Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another POV review. Today we're going to be checking out this 2017 BMW 5 Series, which is from the G30 platform. Now this car is packed as the Luxury Line, which means you get nice chrome trim around the doors, also some chrome accents at the front. The kidney grills are also in chrome, and you get these 18-inch 245 square wheels, which look classy, I guess. Now from the back you get the updated look and feel from the G30, which you have LED rear lights and LED headlights. Now this is a 530i, which is the 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo, no 6-cylinder anymore sadly enough, but you do get dual exhaust. Now this car also has an electronically operated rear trunk with hands-free controls, so if I slide my foot underneath here, which for some reason it doesn't seem to work right now, there we go, it electronically goes open. You get a pretty large rear trunk, which is great. You can hold lots of stuff in here, and in this case it's gonna close. Now if we step into the interior of this 5 Series, and I'm currently sitting behind my driving position, I have a right amount of legroom. Pretty nice cream colored leather interior, which really makes the car look quite classy. You do have rear heated seats as well, and you get a nice cup holder over here, armrest cup holder, which these cup holders you can fold out and you can fit plenty of stuff in there. And you also have these nice shades which I can just pull up, also a little side shade over here, and you are all anonymous pretty much. So if we get into the front of the car and start her up, so foot on the brake, full keyless. So if I now pull the hood, you should be able to see, there you go. That's the 2-liter 4-cylinder producing 250 brake horsepower and about 350 Newton meters of torque, I think. Alright, ready to go in this 5 Series. So foot on the brake, pull towards you, pull the button, push the button on the side, and you of course have the lovely iDrive, which they've updated quite a lot, so I think it works quite well. However, you do have to look through quite a lot of menus before you finally reach what you want. So I have it in drive right now, so let's take her for a spin. And this is a pretty nice place to be. It's running an 8-speed ZF transmission, which is rather smooth, I think, and it definitely suits the comfortness of this car quite well. You can actually change the driving modes you have Comfort, Sport and Eco Pro, and I think also an individual mode, which allows you to change it just the way you want it to change. Now this is a 2017 model, so I think they facelifted it, I think maybe a year or 2 years ago, which made it so that you have the full digital dashboard as well. Sadly enough, this car isn't running it. It's running this kind of half digital dashboard, which yeah, it looks alright, doesn't really add anything, I think. However, if you change it, let's say into sport mode, you see it makes the dials red and it changes just a little bit of the layout. I, however, prefer to have this car in comfort, because you definitely notice this car is more aimed towards comfort, especially in this Luxury Line. You are also able to get this with an M Sport package or a Sports Line, and when you get the M Sport package you get more aggressive bumpers and just a better, or just a more little sporty look and feel. If I switch the transmission into sport and put the car in sport, transmission is quite harsh, I think, when shifting. You do get quite a kick once it changes gear, which is something I didn't quite expect. If you just leave it at comfort, I think it works the best. But considering this car has 250 brake horsepower and does 0 to 60 in 6.1 seconds, it does alright. Let me show you. There you go. she's running quite well. The power is pretty nice. This car weighs about 1500 kilograms and 6.1 seconds to 100. That's pretty quick. You can actually win some sprints if you would want to. So let me put her back into the comfort setting, push her into comfort, and there you go. Now it's a lovely, nice, quiet, comfortable place to be in. I can turn on my heated steering wheel, and my heated seats are already on. So you can select 3 modes for the heated seats, and you have this touchscreen climate control, which I'm not sure I like. It's quite distracting actually to be able to have to look down and see what you're doing when it comes to, for instance, changing the seat heaters. But it does make the car feel a little bit more modern than it did before. Now, cool thing about this newer iDrive system is that you have gesture control for the navigation system, for the infotainment. What I can do is I can just take my finger and twist it around.
C40 recharge.
And as you can see, I can lower and raise the volume by just using my finger, which I think is pretty cool. There's probably a lot more gesture controls that you can do, but I haven't quite figured them out yet. I'm only driving this car for a few hours, so I have to base my current review on my very short drive. Now you can see this lovely LED lighting which is inside, and if you want to change it, I'll demonstrate the amount of work that you have to go through to change it. So you go into car, then car settings, then lighting, then interior lighting, and then you can pick the ambiance lighting, which you have a few options. I quite like the purple, but you could also, for instance, change it into blue if you want. Or what about the typical BMW orange, which I think also looks pretty cool. But considering this is, again, a luxury line, red kind of feels more sporty to me, so it doesn't quite work for me, but hey, whatever. Now this car is equipped with a rear-wheel drive, which many BMWs of this class are. The only, I think, front-wheel drive BMWs right now are the 1 Series, and also I think the 2 Series Grand Touring, or whatever they're called. They look quite dull, but I think this does quite live up to the name of BMW. It feels comfortable, yet if you try to push it a bit, it can be a bit sporty, which I think in this class, if you compare it to other cars, so this is a straight competitor to the Mercedes E-Class, and also to, of course, the Audi A6. Where are you going, BMW? Fellow BMW. Put her into sport. We have to get behind this truck. Yeah, we do. So we're getting on the highway now, but like I said, straight competitor to the E-Class and the A6 if you're just looking at the popular German cars. And I think this is more or less into the sporty category for that class. Well, if you get an E63 or an RS6, that's a whole nother league, but just the base model in this is already a lot more sporty. So let's punch her. And have this Megane be in my way, damn it. I also have flappy paddles behind the steering wheel, which I think it's nice to have them, but not relevant for this kind of car, I think. But when you're on the highway, just in the comfort setting, and the suspension is really softly sprung, which is great. Maybe when you get an M Sport package, it's a bit more harsh, but considering what this car is trying to be, it works really well. It's very comfortable. It just kind of wafts along on the highway, and I think it does great. Now, in the Netherlands, this car costs just a little bit under 80,000 euros the way it is spec'd right now. The base model you could get was the 520, which had about 180 brake horsepower. Now this has about 70 more horsepower than the 520 does, which makes quite a bit of difference. If you look at the stats of the 520, I think you're somewhere in the 8s with 0 to 60, which is still pretty good. It's still really good for a day-to-day, but this 530 just gives it that little bit of extra oomph when you need it. Now, one of the downsides, I think, is that this car is not equipped with a 6-cylinder anymore. The previous generation of BMW 5 Series, so that's the F10, I think. Now, that actually had a 6-cylinder when you were in a 530. So for this, they first time stuck with a 4-cylinder. Now, these cars are a bit harder to match emissions. which is probably the reason why this is a 4-cylinder nowadays. Now you can also get this car in various different engines, starting from, like I said, a 4-cylinder. I think there's also still a 6-cylinder available if you go for a 540i, I think, and 550i, of course. And not to forget, you also have an M5 of this. Now that is probably crazy. I think it's running the 4.4 liter V8, producing about 600 odd horsepower or so. That is crazy. That's probably something a whole different league than this, but rear wheel drive, and yeah, it's, as you can see, quite wobbly. It's wafting along. It's not really made for shoving it in a corner and giving it proper amount of gas, but yeah, just a sprint, and just, I think this car tops off at about 250 kilometers an hour. That's a top speed, which is plenty. I think cruising this on the Autobahn at higher speeds, maybe about 200 kilometers an hour, is probably still going to feel comfortable, because that's what these German cars are definitely, first of all, very good at, and second of all, made for. Now these cars are pretty much made for eating miles on the highway, and I think they do great at that. Now, considering the color of this interior, so the cream leather, it's I think very easily dirty. This car has done about 66,000 kilometers, and you can see that it's already, the leather is starting to show some dirt on it. That's the big downside of these kind of color cars, but I do think in a luxury line it matches quite well. What I would have more liked to see is like a cognac leather color, which probably would have looked even better. And I'm just missing the black headliner, which I quite like on cars. I think it looks cool, and it makes it so that your vision is not impaired by this lighter color headliner. But probably when you get an M Sport model, you do get a black headliner, but it's just little things. Considering this car is pretty well spec'd, it still doesn't have all the options. There are many options that you can pick on cars like these: upgraded audio, heads-up display. There's a whole lot of things that you can add to this. Now this car also doesn't have adaptive cruise control, which, considering the car is 4 years old, so I pretty much would have expected it in this spec, so almost 80,000 euros, and no adaptive cruise control, which I always think is quite a nice feature to have. Some people just don't want it, so they don't spec it, but I would know for sure. I really like it, and I think it works quite well. I'm not sure about these slightly older cars, but if you consider the fact that Mercedes has been doing it since the 90s, adding Distronic, so that's adaptive cruise control in Mercedes terms, I think it's pretty weird that this doesn't have it. Now, I showed you the shades before in the rear. It was on the rear windows, but you can also do it in the back window. So if I click a little button over here, let me first straighten her out. So I click a little button over here, and we have a look in my rear view mirror. There it goes, privacy shades, fully automatically operated, which yeah, I didn't quite get the use of them. Just blind your windows, but some people want this, I guess, maybe for the kids when you're on holiday, but yeah, in general, it's not my sort of option. Now, lately I haven't been able to make as much content as I would like due to the weather. I have not been able to take a car, because I usually take it for photographs as well, so I shoot just some social media content for the owner of this garage that I get these cars from. Sadly enough, due to the bad weather, I've not been able to make many photographs, so also no reviews, which is a bit of a shame, but hopefully when the weather is a bit better, I'll be able to do a few more, because as you can see today, it's also drizzling quite a bit. It has been for the whole day. I thought it was going to be dry, but sadly enough, it wasn't. It's not too bad, but yeah, we just got to deal with it. That's the downside of living in the Netherlands. The weather is, in winter time, it's raining. I don't mind cold. As long as it's dry, I'm cool, but this rain, not my thing. And I think, guys, that's gonna be just about it for this review. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment. The more interaction I get, the more popular my reviews get. And subscribe if you're not yet. First of all, it really helps me out, and you're able to see many more videos from me in the future. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.